Hi there, Cosmic Family. My name is Eliali in this incarnation. I am here today to talk about the energies of this next week from today, January 5th until January 12th. So, we have a lot of things this week. I'm going to try to make little comments about everything, and then I'm going to expand in during the days, through the days. We have two important events. The first one is the change of the lunar nodes. The nodes are at this moment the North Node in Aries, the South Node in Libra, and they are going to change to North Node in Pisces and South Node in Virgo. This happens on January 12th. So this is a very important thing because we are going to experiment lessons linked with this energy. And the second one, it is linked with the full moon in Cancer that we are going to have on January 13th. I'm going to talk about the full moon in another video, so I'm going to do little comments because there is a lot this week that I want to say. So, let's go in order, and then I am going to give the comments. Okay, tomorrow, January 6th, we have many things. In first place, we have the square between Mercury in Sagittarius and Neptune in Pisces. I did a video yesterday. I'm going to leave that in the description, in the reproduction list. I'm not going to repeat everything. Mainly, this is about following our intuition. Many times this implies a conflict between our beliefs, our mind, and what our intuition is saying. It is about perhaps transcending the doubt, the escapism, the confusion that could be produced in order to move forward or to assume decisions that truly have a purpose for us. Tomorrow, also, Pluto in Aquarius is perfecting the sextile with the North Node in Aries in the trine with the South Node in Libra. This is something that has been active since a lot of days ago. I mentioned this in several videos, in fact, but the fact that is activating this last week that we are having the nodes in here. It is also important to remember, for me to remind you that even though the karma nodes are changing this week, we still have one solar eclipse this next season of Aries. It is a sun eclipse in Aries, and that is like the big closure that we are going to have with lessons with these karma nodes. So the fact that Pluto is making these harmonic aspects with the North Node in Aries and the South Node in Libra implies that perhaps we need to do a transformation, we need to assume our power to do something different and in an independent way with the North Node in Aries. Perhaps we have to move on alone or doing something alone, and this requires to let go of the seeking of validation, the opinions of other people, these kind of things. Also, this could be linked with cleansing in terms of relationships, the last ones with these karma nodes, nor the last ones in our lives, because relationships are always reflecting and helping us to reveal aspects of ourselves. So in the end, they are a vehicle, an evolutionary vehicle. So the relationships, but these are the last lessons related to these nodes. And the fact that that Pluto is making this in a harmonic way with harmonic aspects, it is like, I need to transform this. I need to take the power to move forward to this evolutionary opportunity. But in this case, it is like with less resistance. I am more encouraged to do this. This is an energy that we can take advantage of. And of course, a sextile with the North Node implies action, implies taking the impulse to do so. Other thing that I wanted to mention in terms with every North Node and every South Node, it doesn't matter the position, it is that many people could have the tendency to perceive the North Node as the positive point and the South Node as the negative one. And it is not like that. It is like the North Node, it is this evolutionary point that we need to move forward. In the South Node, it is a point where we need to do a cleansing, where we need to identify the patterns that are preventing us from evolve or change. to continue to the next phase, to elevate that energy. It is a very familiar energy at the same time. And what happens with the North Node, it is that it is something that we don't feel comfortable at all, because we are moving forward to unknown spaces. That are internal, actually, and also they are going to be manifested on our external reality. This for you to take in account with the next position. Well, tomorrow also Mars, that is retrograde in Leo, is returning to Cancer. So there it comes a revision of past experiences that we transited in October. This includes the opposition that Mars in Cancer did with Pluto in Capricorn at that time. This is not the same. I mean, Mars in Cancer is still in opposition with Pluto in Aquarius, but it is not the same as the cardinal opposition. And because at that time we were experiencing the last passage of Pluto there. So this is a revision. At that moment, it had to do with the transformation or the death of an old structure, an old way of experiencing the reality. This is very linked with our familiar core, with our home, with our emotions, but in their core, what we have acquired from the experiences that we had when we were children, and also, the experiences that Pluto exposed at that point. That in the collective, it was a very destructive transit, actually. It manifested in very destructive things that, left us very important lessons, I think. So with this, what I am trying to say is that now that Mars in Cancer is in opposition with Pluto in Aquarius, this is more about how am I going to take my power to do things different and to transcend, or to start to reconstruct, perhaps, from a new space or with a new consciousness, that core or that home or whatever thing, Mars is retrograde, so this is more like a review, and also this invites us to go inwards and to identify which are the the discomfort, the anger that could be activated through different experiences. So Mars is going to participate of the full moon in Cancer, is going to be a protagonist. And at the time that Mars, sorry, there is a bug or mosquito flying. At the time that Mars returns to Cancer, it is going to create a trine with Neptune in Pisces. This is a very nice aspect. It is perfected on January 12th, but it continues to stay 3 or 4 days more. And this is active from the moment that Mars returns to Cancer. And Mars in Cancer, it is an intuitive Mars. Every sign that is connected with water is intuitive. It is much more connected with intuition, I mean. But this is reinforcing, the presence of Neptune is reinforcing this. And it is about surrendering to whatever it has to be, but following that inner certainty, assuming decisions from that space, assuming decisions following our own soul. So that is something that we can take advantage of. Okay, on January 8th, Mercury leaves Sagittarius and enters in Capricorn. This is very nice, actually, because Mercury in Sagittarius, for the old astrology, it is said that it is not comfortable there. But I think, actually, Mercury in Sagittarius has these great visions. It is much focused in the horizons and the big purposes. And also wants to learn and to share that wisdom. Here, Mercury in Capricorn, it is a very nice transit too, and necessary, I think, at this moment, because it is much more focused on practicality. How we are going to do this, how am I planning this, let's go to the facts, let's talk about the important thing. I don't want, many stories. It is a very simple Mercury, but very practical and very terrestrial. And it is something good. The thing is, when Mercury in Capricorn, in the context of the full moon in Cancer, it is that many times it is not that Mercury that wants to talk about its feelings, you know, his or her feelings, depending on the person. It is not a Mercury very vulnerable. But well, it can communicate through the facts, through commitment. This is an expression of this Mercury in Capricorn. At the time it enters in this sign, it is going to create a square with the karma nodes, Aries, Libra. These are the last contacts that we are having, even though we still have that other eclipse of Sun in Aries in the next season. I don't remember if I mentioned that. Well, this is the third video that I am recording, that I am doing the third transmission, so I forgot. Right. So these squares with the karma nodes are involving assuming evolutionary opportunities, but as a challenge, you know. So at the same time that Pluto is impulsing us and saying, go on, go on, take your power and do that thing different. We feel also the tension. It could be challenging for us to do something in an independent way. It could be challenging for us put a boundary to certain relationships. It could be a challenging, you know, doing this kind of things, or letting go of the seeking of validation in order to take a concrete step in something that we want to develop. But the opportunity is there, you know. So we will have to choose. At the same time, the Sun in Capricorn from January 10th, it is going to activate a trine with Uranus in Taurus. This is a very, very nice aspect. It is perfected on the day of the full moon in Cancer. And this aspect is speaking of making changes in a very terrestrial way too. You know, Uranus, connections between the Sun and Uranus could be these insights, these creative solutions for something that we were worried about. Or could be, well, finally, I'm going to do this. I'm going to change this. I'm going to do this change of basis, because Uranus in Taurus implies many times things that gave us a stability, but we really want to make something different, more evolutionary, more linked with our true essence. So the Sun and Uranus connected in this trine, which is a harmonic aspect, another one, and that is part of the full moon. It is impulsing us to make those changes. You know, I finally want to move from this space. I finally want to generate resources in a different way, etc. So, well, January 12th, we have the change of the karma nodes, the North Node in Pisces, South Node in Virgo. I already did a video talking about this. I'm going to leave that reproduction list. At the same time, the North Node enters in Pisces, Mars in Cancer is going to do an activation with both of them, a harmonic aspect, a trine with the North Node in Pisces, and a sextile with the South Node in Virgo. So this is the first activation, and we are impulsed from this moment until you know, July of 2026. Actually, the eclipses are going to continue until 2027, but we are impulsed to move forward in pretty much connection with our soul, to expand our spirituality and to surrender to certain experiences with life, even if we are not finding total logic, but we are connecting with an inner certainty. And the South Node in Virgo, it is more about, you know, changing the excessive criticism, letting go of the excessive criticism, the excessive focus on the detail that is preventing us from doing whatever thing we need to do in order to move forward. It is about letting go of the old logics, and also making transformations in our habits, the way we are approaching our body, our health. In fact, these karma nodes are very, very associated with the impact that our emotions could have in our body, and the impact that ignoring our intuition could have in our body, and our health. Very, very implied in these things. So manifestations in the physical body are a signal of how we are, you know, the level of coherence that we are approaching inside. And well, the fact that they are connecting with Mars, it is also an invitation to move forward to this North Node, even though it is not comfortable, as I said. Okay, Well, January 13th, we have the full moon in Cancer. It is given in the degree 23, 24, we could say. So I'm going to only comment this. It is this week, days in which we are going to feel much sensitivity, changeable. I don't know if I'm inventing this word, changeable emotions. We could have this, I don't know the word right now. This remembers, no, well, we could remember stories of the past that are re-emerging, things that are linked with our familiar core, with the family members, with our home, the relationship with the mother, and all of that could be shown in a way that is causing discomfort because Mars, it is going to be in conjunction with the moon. But well, it is important to take this in account, and tomorrow probably I'm going to do the video talking about this full moon. At last, I wanted to comment that Venus in Pisces, it is going to create a square with Jupiter. This is perfected all the next week, but we are going to feel it at the final part of this one. It is going to create a square with Jupiter in Gemini and a conjunction with Saturn in Pisces. So I am only going to do a comment of these things. The square with Jupiter in Gemini could be linked with having to integrate something, doing something very linked with a desire that we want to create, desires of the soul, the way that we want to generate resources, or desires of the soul that we want to manifest in terms of relationships. And this Venus in Pisces is inviting us to connect a lot with ourselves, in a very deep way. So the square with Jupiter could be linked with having to connect with that intuition to choose between options. Also, the shadow of Venus in Pisces could adopt these qualities of Neptune and the energy of Pisces in general, that is very linked with escapism. So it is like with Jupiter and Gemini, I spend a lot of time with these people. I spend a lot of time in social media, or I spend a lot of time only thinking, and I am not doing something to concrete, to develop this thing that have purpose. So the conjunction with Saturn in Pisces, this is about expansion, but there is something that we need to integrate. And the conjunction with Saturn in Pisces is in the contrary, a transit of contraction, because here, this is about understanding the boundaries that we need to put in areas that perhaps we are giving unlimited energy in relationships, in resources. This is about understanding that the things that we want to materialize are also developed through saying no to the things that we don't want in our lives. Well, I'm going to expand about this later. I just wanted to comment, but this is a transit of commitment with ourselves and with our true desires. And many times we need to discover them. I did several videos talking about how many times we think we desire something, and actually those are conditionings. And then when we go deep into ourselves, we discover that there is something else that we want to do. So, okay, I just wanted to leave this reflection today. Thank you, everyone, and see you in the next one. Ciao, ciao.